Welcome back, everyone. I have another newbie with me right now. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. So we'll be sharing the show in just a little bit. I have with me Lisa Hullinger, and she is the managing partner of Campus Advisors. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thanks, Carol. Lisa Hullinger, Campus Advisors. We help families navigate the college process, specifically the college financial process, because we find that families, they need a lot of help because college is expensive.
Yeah.
And
tell me about it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you've had kids that
we talked about this.
Your kids are no longer little kids. But right now, ASU, U of A, NAU, $30,000 a year. You know, I'm rounding, but right at $30,000 a year, full cost of attendance. And we've got low-income families that have the ability to tap into need-based programs. We have wealthy families that are able to write big checks, and when I say big check, I mean $50,000 a year for each of the kids in their household, and that's a really big number. And it's the middle-class families who are really feeling the squeeze of the escalated college prices because they don't know kind of what pieces fit for them, and many times they fall to loans because they don't realize how all those other things kind of come together.
Right. Well, that's what happens to a lot of them, and then they follow you forever.
That's right.
Right? They don't go away. Now, I know that when we were talking earlier, you said that you like to talk to the entire family. You do free consultations, but the entire family. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, because this really is a financial decision, we really take a look at, like, this is the kid's academics, talents, all the things that make up the student. And then here are the family finances. And I call it the unique financial dynamics of that family because you have to look at that holistically. If you're only looking at my kid's a 4.0, unweighted high school student and they're going to get everything, well, maybe not, because it really depends on this score called EFC, Expected Family Contribution. And so it's a missing part that many families don't grasp until it's a little bit too late.
So let's talk about that. What is the score?
Okay, it is Expected Family Contribution, and a score is derived from completing a FAFSA. And so you can do an early read. If your kid is in middle school, high school, you can do an early read using the FAFSA forecaster on the FAFSA.gov website, and you put in some basic criteria, and it's going to give you this number. And it's an index number. It's not really dollars. And that index number then determines, is that student going to qualify for Pell Grants? Will that student most likely qualify for university grant money? Will they qualify for some amount of subsidized loans? But a lot of times on that lower EFC number, it is eligibility for programs. And so those programs can be fantastic programs like the Obama Scholars Program at ASU. You have to be below a certain EFC or family income. For many other families, it's an index number. And so that index number at ASU, let me give you just some basic guidelines. So if that EFC, Expected Family Contribution, is $5,000 or lower, then that means Pell Grant eligibility. If that is $8,000 or lower, there's probably some university grant money. If it is above $8,000 with one in college, then there's not going to be any federal or university state grant money. Then it all falls on to the student of what's their merit-based scholarship based on the student's criteria. And then there will be a loan offer to the parent and to the student. And so all of these pieces kind of come together. Now, we start looking at private schools and it twists a little bit because it's not just a FAFSA, it's also a CSS profile. But these are schools that are now easily $60,000, $65,000 a year. So again, this index number is very relative because then it determines, yes, that federal grant money still stays intact, but then that university may have large amounts of money available through their endowments. And so that can be grant money, and that could be grant money for those students in families that have larger EFCs or expected family contributions.
So it all comes down to having a conversation to find out financially where they're really at.
Right.
Because financially, that's where the score is going to come in and tell you exactly what you can get and what you can't get from government or the college, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you work with people, you work valley-wide, okay? And do you go to their home? How does that work?
Well, typically we do a presentation like at high schools or libraries or around the valley, and then families will come into our office for a free consultation, and then we take a look. Like, they will know walking out of our office what their EFC is. And so, so we gather some basic financial information so that we can help determine that EFC. And so then that helps the family start a discussion. So I call it the college money talk, because the best thing that you can do as a parent is help your understand the pieces that are available to you. Because if you don't understand those, those kind of puzzle pieces, then you're just sort of throwing your student out there saying, go get scholarships. Go get scholarships. Well, what does that mean? Like, truly, what does that mean? Some students are easily going to get scholarships. Some students are going to get grants, but there's a chart. Like, you have to fit certain criteria to get those types of money.
So when do they call you? When they're in high school still?
Well, I mean, if I can do my magic wand, I'd be talking to families in middle school, because I think it's planting the seeds so that they can have that real discussion about, this is what we have, this is what it's going to cost, these are the pieces that we need to fill in, and if we can't make all of this work, then what are our alternatives? What are our lesser expensive alternatives? Possibly community college, and community college makes sense to many, many families. But just sort of a fun fact. At our public high schools going into public universities, 95% of students stay in-state.
Oh, yeah.
In-state, right?
Yeah.
So that means that...
Which is good, actually.
Well,
it helps a little bit.
It's definitely easier on the checkbook for many, many, many families. But that means that those tools out there to figure this out is available basically from the time that your student walks onto a high school campus. And so for sure you want to know it by sophomore or junior year. Do not wait till senior year to try to figure these things out.
But a lot of people are going to say, well, first of all, if in middle school, I'm sure I'm going to know what my kid's going to want to do. And then, of course, how about the people that, their kids that they don't get it until all of a sudden they're in 12th grade, right, and they're a senior,
right,
and they're about ready to graduate, and they go, gosh, I'd really like to go to college, So they're going to say that to you. Yeah. What happens? I mean, what do you do?
Oh, yeah, I get that. But I think a lot of times we do have a general idea whether our student is kind of college bound or more technical bound, or...
I mean, as a parent, we kind of know.
We do. So we might as well just prepare in advance because some families, like, they're putting money into 529s, or they're using some other vehicle to save for college from the time that kid is born. So the conversations in that household are when you go to college, not if you go to college, when you go to college. So if you're having that discussion, you need to be having the financial discussion as well.
So you really should be speaking those in that language to them right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I heard Bob Proctor say that. It's not if, it's when.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's a good idea.
Exactly.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we want to talk further. Their website is campusadvisors.com. Their phone number direct is 602-840-5665. They're valley-wide, and they do free consultations. They want to talk the entire family. This is a financial conversation, and it's all about the score. I love it. It's very interesting. And boy, don't wait. Start when they're young. Again, that number is 602-840-5665. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
If I traded it all
So welcome back, everyone. And we are talking with Lisa Hullinger. Did I say it right? I'm sorry. Managing partner of Campus Advisors. The website is campusadvisors.com. They work valley-wide. They do free consultations. It's all about talking to the family, the whole family members, because it's a financial conversation, really, when it comes down to it. And you want to start early. You don't want to wait. You want to start early. You could call them direct. That number is 602-840-5665. I say check them out on the website right away, because she's saying that you should start the best time to call would when your kids are in middle school, which is amazing. So it's campusadvisors.com. Okay, so at the break we were kind of talking a little bit about, private college. Can you elaborate more on that?
Sure. So private colleges, again, the prices are escalating tremendously, and I used to carry around a list of 40 colleges that were at $60,000 a year. Now all of those colleges are well beyond $65,000 a year, because it's just escalating.
Pencils cost a lot too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just, go ahead.
So, for families that are able to spend $30,000-$40,000 a year for college for each of the students in their house, they still really. A lot of times they need that guidance. I'm going to throw something out here for just a moment. I know a lot of times we hear, I make too much money. Why in the world am I doing that FAFSA thing? Well, number one, there's a lot of reasons to just complete the FAFSA. So that's FAFSA.gov, and it is the key that unlocks loans and grants for students. But right now, your student's high school, that is part of their letter grade. So please do the school a favor. Just complete the FAFSA for your student's first year in college. Also, it is part of the statewide initiative of Achieve 60, which the state is aiming for 60% of the population to have a degree or a certification by 2030. So this is embedded in that as well. So just do it. I don't care what your income is. I have one client that he tapped out the highest that the EFC, expected family contribution, could actually go, and I'm like, why are we why are we filling out the form? He's like, my daughter's college said that she had to. Okay, because it was probably tied to her merit-based scholarship. They're just making it a requirement. And a lot of scholarship committees, they are just making it a requirement that the FAFSA is completed, because then that means that the student has really gone to all bases of where money is available. And so just do the FAFSA.
And they do that when?
It opens up October 1st for the seniors of this, for each school year. It's the senior year. October 1st is when it opens.
Coming up.
It does not have to be done on October 1st. October, November, December is fine, but it opens up October 1st. In addition to the FAFSA, a lot of the highly selective schools, there's about 400 of them, take what's known as the CSS profile, and it is under the umbrella under College Board. And these schools, they've got a lot of money to give. And so they want to know a lot more about your financial life before they open up their coffers, basically. And so this is all of the Ivies and a lot of Southern California schools. And I mean, if you think most of the schools with the $60,000 and $70,000 price tags are probably also going to take the CSS profile.
So I want to get it correct, as I'm sitting here learning about you. When we talk about Campus Advisors, you focus mostly here on their finances. Right. Because, there's a lot of people that if you were to, let's say they want to do a consultation with you, I want to get it clear that they understand. You're not telling them where to go, like a good school to go. You're not checking that out about them at all.
No, not initially. Initially, we're kind of figuring out what is their EFC? What is their expectation of the colleges that their student would like to go to? So a lot of times somebody will sit down and they might have a list of 10 or 15 colleges that are kind of on the radar. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe the family has lots of income, and they say, we just want to go for it. If we can get our kid into yada yada whatever college, we just simply want to go for it. Then the discussion about the financial is kind of set aside, and then it becomes, what does the student have to do admissions wise to get into the schools on their target?
Okay, so that's what I want to know.
Right,
so
right.
you're not just stopping here.
No, but we also don't go real deep into admissions.
Okay.
Like, we're not going to write essays. We're
No,
not.
of course not.
We're not going to critique
Right.
essays. But if a student isn't in the right range, ACT, SAT wise, then either they need to get tutoring, or they might need to adjust the schools that they're looking at because they're not in the right
Right.
right range.
I would think that's
right?
pretty important
Yeah.
too, because why have this conversation if that?
Yeah, so it's got to be a combination of both, and so that's where it's the students' talents and academics, but it's also the family financial dynamics.
Right.
It has
Big
to
time.
it has to be a combination, and and that's even true for our Arizona schools. So whether it's here in Arizona, they're big publics, or it is at a Ivy League school, like, what are the family dynamics that is surrounding this student? And then it could open up possibilities. Or we had a student, we can't take the credit for it because he was a super motivated athlete, but got into Princeton this last year. But the dad knew, making this decision, this is what I'm going to pay. Like, we know that there's no other scholarships going to come forward in this case, that this is what the price is and this is what we're prepared to pay. And so for him, it was peace of mind. It's like, I talked to another father earlier this week that said, we went on a college visit, and basically during the tour we were told, so it's a $65,000 college, nobody pays retail. He's like, I buy a car. I know what I'm paying. He's like, I just want to know what I'm paying for college. And so for families that have that ability to write the bigger checks, they just want to have an idea. Do I need to expect 40,000, 60,000? Are we really looking at 80,000 a year? For our two students, right?
So I just want to ask you too, though. I mean, it might be that they have a rounded number, and I'm assuming that's high because
Right.
something happens.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they might change their
They might change their mind.
They might change their mind. They
Yeah.
might change a lot of things, and that number goes up or down, right?
Okay, so the in Arizona, and this is not a default on Arizona. This is kind of consistent with public universities across the United States. 56% graduation rate in 6 years, not 4 years. Not 4.5. That's the 6-year rate in which College Board now compares colleges for their graduation rate, because students change their mind. Then maybe they take on too much in work, and then they back off on their hours. I mean, life happens, but graduation is not, stepping onto the campus and 4 years later,
you're done.
Done. Like, if your student does that, then hallelujah. But that's not the typical case.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would be your words to the audience right now? Because we have a couple of minutes, and I want you to be able to get what your final words would be to them.
Just gather the information about what is real early. Meaning, so let me just use U of A because they're a super easy example. You can go onto the U of A website, type in U of A scholarships, and it's going to give you the criteria right now of what GPA, what ACT, what SAT, and what level of scholarship your student is going to get. And so if you're, just pick a baseline. If your kid is a, 3.8 GPA unweighted, and it looks like they're in the $8,000 range, then plan on $8,000. And if they get more, then great. But, projected on where your student is now.
Well, what I like about it too is if that tells you that number, it also tells the student there are things that you can do.
Absolutely.
Say that.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
Can tell them.
Yep. So they potentially have the opportunity to increase a GPA, an SAT, an ACT score to raise that merit-based scholarship.
And the parents would probably appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And so will you, because you're going to end up with that bill. Okay, so their number to call is 602-840-5665. They work valley-wide. They do free consultations. They want to talk to the family, and they want to talk to you as early as they can. Again, that number is 602-840-5665. You want to check them out on their website. It's campusadvisors.com. A lot of people, you want their kids to go, you want your kids to go to college, and you want them to go to where they want to go,
right,
whether it's in-state or not, and you want them to succeed. So give them a call. That phone number is 602-840-5665. It's campusadvisors.com.
Across that line.